Hello everyone, welcome to my storytelling. Today, I'm going to tell you about one of the most shocking murder cases in the United Kingdom, the case of Joanna Yates. At first, this seemed like a simple missing person case. A young woman disappeared just days before Christmas, leaving behind her phone, wallet, and everything she would normally take with her. But as investigators dug deeper, the mystery became darker and more disturbing. The search for Joanna would uncover a tragic crime, a false suspect publicly accused by the media, and a killer hiding the plain sight. So, without further ado, let's get started. Imagine this. You've just finished work, bought yourself a pizza, and are looking forward to a quiet weekend alone in your apartment. Everything seems normal, but without knowing it, that ordinary evening will be the last night of your life. This is the story of the murder of Joanna Yates, a case that shocked the United Kingdom in 2010 and became one of country's most widely discussed criminal investigations. What made the case even more disturbing was the fact that the killer was not a stranger lurking the shadows. He was someone living incredibly close to her. Joanna Yates was a 25 years old architect from Hampshire, England. She was known as a bright, friendly, and ambitious young woman with a promising future ahead of her. Since childhood, Joanna had a passion for art and design. After graduating from the University of Gloucestershire with a degree in architecture, she began working for an architectural firm. It was there that she met a colleague named Greg Reardon. What started as a professional relationship soon turned into romance. Their relationship became serious, and even Joanna's family approved of Greg. To everyone around them, they looked like a happy young couple building a life together. In late 2009, their company relocated to Bristol. As a result, Joanna and Greg moved into an apartment together in the Clifton area of the city. Life seemed to be going well, but everything changed on December 2010. A week before Christmas, Greg planned to travel home to spend the holidays with his family. Before leaving, he invited Joanna to come with him. She politely declined. She told him she wanted some time to herself and planned to enjoy a quiet weekend alone. Neither of them knew that this would be the last conversation they would ever have. That Friday evening, Joanna went out with friends to a local pub. Witnesses later said she appeared completely normal and was in good spirits. At around 8 p.m., she decided to walk back to her apartment. On the way home, she stopped to buy a pizza and later visited a supermarket to purchase a few drinks. Everything about her movements that night appeared routine. There was nothing to suggest that anything terrible was about to happen. Around 9 p.m., Greg sent Joanna a text message asking whether she had arrived home safely. There was no reply. At first, he wasn't worried. Joanna had a habit of responding to messages late. An hour later, he tried contacting her again. Still nothing. Although he found it unusual, Greg convinced himself that she might have fallen asleep or simply left her phone somewhere. Eventually, he went to bed. He had no idea that Joanna might already be in grave danger. The next morning, Joanna still had not responded. Her phone went unanswered. Her message remained unread. For the first time, Greg began to feel genuinely concerned. By Sunday, he decided to return to Bristol and check on her personally. When he arrived at the apartment, something immediately left wrong. The front door was unlocked. He entered and called Joanna's name. There was no answer. Then he noticed several disturbing details. Her wallet was still inside. Her apartment keys were still there. Even her mobile phone had been left behind. Most alarming of all, her pet cat had not been fed. Anyone who knew Joanna understood that she would never leave her cat unattended. At the moment, Red realized something was terribly wrong. He immediately contacted the police. Investigators searched the apartment and discovered a receipt for a pizza purchase at 8:40 p.m. on the night she disappeared. The receipt confirmed an important detail. Joanna had successfully returned home that evening. She had not vanished while walking through the scene. Whatever happened to her occurred after she entered her apartment. Police soon began to suspect that she had been abducted. The case quickly became national news. Joanna's face appeared on television screens across the country. Her family made emotional public appeals, begging for information about her whereabouts. But as the days passed, there were no answers. Then, on Christmas Day, December 25, 2010, a horrifying discovery was made. A couple walking their dog in a snow-covered area noticed the animal behaving strangely. The dog repeatedly barked and sniffed at particular spot. Curious, the couple approached. There, partially hidden beneath the snow, was the body of a young woman. Police rushed to the scene. Their worst fear were confirmed. The body belonged to Joanna Yates. A forensic examination revealed that Joanna had died from strangulation. Investigators also found evidence indicating that she had fought desperately against her attacker. The case immediately became a murder investigation. Police launched an enormous operation, examining hundreds of CCTV recordings and offering a substantial reward for information. Soon, attention focused on a man named Christopher Jeffries, the landlord of the building where Joanna lived. A witness named Vincent Tabak told police that Christopher had behaved suspiciously on the night Joanna disappeared. The media seized upon the story. Almost overnight, Christopher became the prime suspect in the eyes of the public. Newspapers portrayed him as likely killer. People judged him based on his appearance and eccentric personality. The public outrage was intense. However, after extensive questioning, police announced that Christopher had absolutely no involvement in Joanna's death. The man who had been publicly condemned was completely innocent. The investigation was back to square one. Then, detectives began re-examining the witness who had first accused Christopher, Vincent Tabak. The more they investigate him, the more suspicious he became. His statements changed repeatedly. He was reluctant to provide fingerprints. Eventually, police obtained a sample. Then, forensic experts compared his fingerprints to those recovered from Joanna's body. The result was undeniable. It was matched. The man who had pointed the finger at someone else was actually the killer. The revelation stunned the entire country. Vincent Tabak was arrested and charged with Joanna's murder. Initially, he denied any involvement, but investigators uncovered additional evidence linking him to the crime. Police concluded that Vincent had learned Joanna was alone in her apartment that night. He went to her home and attacked her. Joanna fought back fiercely, but she was ultimately overpowered and strangled to death. Afterward, Vincent transported her body several kilometers away and abandoned it in a remote area, where it remained hidden beneath the snow until Christmas Day. In the end, Vincent Tabak was found guilty and sentenced to life imprisonment. Yet the tragedy of Joanna Yates left a lasting impact on Britain, not only because of the devastating loss of a young woman with her whole future ahead of her, but also because an innocent man had been publicly terrified before the truth emerged. And that brings us to the end of Joanna Yates' tragic story. This case reminds us that appearance can be deceiving. The person many people believe was guilty turned out to be innocent, while the real killer managed to hide behind masks of normality. It is also a powerful lesson about the dangers of rushing of judgment before all the facts are known. Most importantly, it reminds us how quickly an ordinary day can turn into a life-changing tragedy. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope you found this case both interesting and thought-provoking. Thank you and have a great day.